Stooshy and Blackheart. 29 minutes now after 11. Well, we've been chatting about this for a few days now, so about time we got it going on the wireless. Here we are. We've been talking about valuing items that you may have in your house, and I have had a few saying, I've got the old man, he's 60, sits in the corner in his chair and occasionally gets up. No, we can't value him. I'm sure he's worthless. I mean, priceless. Anyway, Brian Clements has joined us from McTear's, the auction house. Very good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, Ali. I'm good, thank you very
much. Welcome. This has caused a fair bit of stooshy, so to speak, in the fact that we asked people to send photographs in via their mobile phone, and they certainly have done that. But before we actually look at some examples, I was looking at, and I've been down to your place and had a look around, and amazed at the amount of whiskies. First of all, the whiskey room is just fantastic. That's amazing. We'll come to that in a few moments' time. But some of the things you do, when I was down the other week, you were selling costumes from a theatre, weren't you? Tell us about that, how that came about.
Yeah, the Theatre Royal in Glasgow is undergoing a major refurbishment, and when we first got to meet with the guys at the Theatre Royal, they were talking about selling cafe chairs and signs and the box office sign from the cafe area, various fixtures and fittings, the bar area, which ended up selling really not very well at all. But the more interesting things that we were talking about were costumes that were used in major productions, and these ended up selling really, really well. Some of the costumes that were auctioned 2 weeks ago were making hundreds of pounds. You had everything from a spaceman suit, which I can still remember Jamie in our company pacing through the sale room in the spaceman suit, to matador costumes, right. And everything. And it was just at the right time because it was just before Halloween, so we couldn't have timed that better.
So again, you managed to, I mean, they were obviously excess to what they required, and you managed to get some cash for them.
Well, that's right. The theatre, or Scottish Opera more in particular, have thousands and thousands of costumes which are surplus they've used in previous productions. They're not going to use again, and it's a way of it was a way of raising money for Scottish Opera, and for McTear's it was a fantastic opportunity to really showcase some of the fantastic costumes. I mean, the surprising thing was they're so well made. Stitched unbelievably, and the quality of them is something that if you went to buy clothing of the quality that they produce at Scottish Opera, it would cost you hundreds of pounds plus for an outfit.
Now, McTear's has been going for many a year, hasn't it?
170 years this year.
Right. You're looking well on it, I have to say.
Well, I've only been there for 164.
That's, so you're getting rid of some of your costumes as well, then?
Yeah.
What do you specialise in? Do you have... I mean, I'm talking about whiskies and a big whisky room. But what else do you, for those who have maybe never visited McTear's before?
Well, personally, I don't specialise in any category. I'm what you'd refer to as a general valuer. Myself and Hamish in the company are seen as that. We have a specialist in Asian works of art, that's Magda Ketterer. We have our specialist in whisky, which you've mentioned. We've got David and Stephen in there. Also jewellery. We have Elaine and Sarah. Sarah's in maternity at the moment, so Elaine's holding that department together. And apart from that, we also have furniture and works of art, which is much more of a general category. But the specialist departments are the ones which are, the main specialist departments are in whisky, in jewellery and Asian works of art.
Right. And how often do you have sales, and what type of things do you do? Do you have sales on, particular items? Do you have whisky sales, for instance?
Well, we do. I think it's probably important to point out at this stage to everybody listening that it's not all about, you mentioned about the painting that we sold 2 weeks ago for £185,000, the bottle of whiskey that we sold for £17,000. That in itself could maybe scare off people from, it didn't really scare them off from sending the text that inquiries into us because we've been inundated. But it's not all about that. We have a weekly interiors auction which you can buy items in there for 10, 20, 50, 100, £1,000. There's a wide range of items which can include jewellery, costume jewellery, gold jewellery, ceramics, glass, ornaments, furniture, decorative pictures, as well as fine pictures. So that's the mainstay of the week on week, every single Friday, and as I say, it's called the Interiors Auction. When the main the main part of our business, I suppose, though, are the dedicated fine sales, which take place every 5 weeks.
Right.
And that's where we hold an dedicated auction of Scottish contemporary art. We have an auction of fine pictures. We have an auction of rare and collectible whisky. We have an auction of silver. And that's something that's worth probably pressing on a little bit, because silver has become again something that's really, really popular. And we also have an auction of Asian works of art. That takes place every 10 weeks. And also ceramics and glass. So that can be, the ceramics and glass can include items from the continent, like Royal Vienna, Dresden, Meissen. It can also include items from that we'll see a lot more here: Bell's Pottery in Glasgow, Royal Doulton Ceramics. A lot of the Staffordshire factories are represented in sales there, and but it tends to be in those auctions, the dedicated auctions, which are live online. They're international auctions that are bid for by people all around the world using McTear's live auctions, and that will tend to be for items that are that little bit rarer and certainly that little bit more valuable.
Is there something that the listeners, or those who think they have something that's a bit special or would just like it valued, is there something they should be actually looking for to send to you? I mean, we've said take a photograph, send it, and we'll come up with we'll give you the numbers and things in a moment. But when it's a painting, for instance, I would imagine if there's a name on it, that's fairly important for them to include that.
Yes, very much so, Ali. We've had a lot of inquiries over the past few days, more especially, and that have been of pictures. And all I can say with a lot of them is that it's a picture. Some people have put the artist name, which is great, and it lets us determine the value from the artist name. But often, if someone sends me a print of the Hay Wain by Constable, I know that it's not the genuine Hay Wain by Constable. But in many other ways, with many other pictures, it's undeterminable unless they actually say in the text message, this is an original watercolour by an artist, for example, John Blair. In that case, it's very... the more you can tell me, the better.
Right.
Artist names, medium. When I say medium, it means watercolor, pastel, oil, for example. Also, the size of the picture is important as well. And that, with a lot of items, you can determine what it is without knowing too much more detail about it. But pictures, we need as much information as we can get.
Okay, once again, if you do have something that you would like valued, then it's easy. All you have to do is take a photograph on your mobile phone and send it to 88600 88600 and include the words Value Alley in the text message. And as Brian was saying there, with as much information as possible, so that if you actually know it's Royal Doulton or you know the artist's name, then whatever, then give us that information. So, as we say, there's been quite a few coming in over the last few days, so we'll have a look at them in a few moments.
Playing one great song after another. 11:52 a.m. Clyde 2.
14 minutes away from 12. Right then, Brian, let's have a look at one of the items that's been sent in, or indeed a few. But I've spoken often enough about the whiskey room, so you've had one in there with a photograph of a bottle of whiskey.
We have indeed. There's been quite a number of whiskies, and there, when the pictures are taken of the labels quite carefully and clearly, it's very, very easy to put values on these. You had mentioned to the listeners over the past few days or so that we indeed auctioned a bottle of Macallan for £17,000, which is a world record for a Macallan 50-year-old, 17,000 hammer price. So we have one of your listeners has indeed sent in a Macallan. Now, it's not unfortunately a 50-year-old, and it's not worth £17,000. This is actually a Macallan Private Eye. This was bottled for the 35th anniversary of the satirical magazine Private Eye in 1996. The whisky itself is also a 35-year-old, and when this was purchased in 1996, it would have cost about £35 or £40 to buy the bottle. We actually sold one of these 2 weeks ago, and it made, again, a hammer price of £750. So the owner of the Macallan Private Eye, you know who you are, and that's what your bottle is worth, £750.
£750. Very nice, eh? Yeah, I think that sitting in the corner there all of a sudden will make sure we take care of that bottle.
Yeah. Possibly don't drink it, look after it or get it into auction. It's a surprisingly large, big price for a limited edition that was as sizable as 5,000. The Macallan Private Eye, there was 5,000 bottles. This one is in particular number 2684. Normally you would find when there's 5,000 bottles filled from a single cask, the value is going to be quite low, but Macallan, like so many other whiskies, have gone up and up and up in value, and that's led to this increase over the past couple of years, especially from what was selling for £300 to £400 now to over 750.
Right. Okay. Moving on. What else have you come up with that is of interest there then?
So another whiskey. This will be the last whiskey I think we'll go on today, but a completely different type of thing. This actually commemorates the league-winning team under the management of Wim Jansen, of course Celtic. This was the team which I think was in 1995 that stopped Rangers winning the 10 in a row. Now, you tend to find that bottles of commemorative whiskey relating to football teams, Rangers or Celtic, there's so many of them made, and that does keep the value down on them. But this one here, it's quite historic in respect of that Wim Jansen, I understand, was quite a well-loved manager of the Celtic fans, and I think if this was auctioned, we could get possibly £100, £150 for this one. So not bad again for a bottle of whiskey.
Indeed. Right. Okay. So good. Two good ones there. And although you said we'll make that the last whiskey, we'll come to one at the end.
Oh yes, I see that one. I see that one sitting
right.
there.
Right. What other things caught your attention then? Have been sent in?
This was one that actually came in this morning, and this is right up your street. We have a 9 carat. So this has come in Valley Alley, 9 carat gold, 8.5 centimeters long. Engraved with the initials AB. So this has got to be for you if it comes into
absolutely yes.
into auction. This is actually what I'm talking about is a 9 carat gold. This is a cigarette case. It's got its original outer case. Now, it's really good that this has been sent in because it seems to me that people have been going around their mantelpieces, sideboards, photographing cups, saucers, vases, candlesticks, pictures on the wall. And the best advice I can do, carry on doing that. It's fantastic. It's very easy for us to have a look at them, give valuations on them without too much trouble, given the correct information, as we've discussed. But, get into the sideboard. Get into the sideboard in the drawers where you've got these old silver and gold cigarette cases, cigarette caskets, because they are selling really, really well just now. Obviously helped along by the high value of the metal. Silver and gold has come up to, in the past year, record highs. But this gold cigarette case, the owner, who is, she's given her name as Roberta, you're looking at about £1,000 for this gold cigarette case.
Good grief. When an item like that or anything else has initials on it that's specific to someone else, I always think of this as far as books are concerned. When an author signs it or to a certain person, does that increase the value or decrease it?
If the certain person happens to be famous, I think it would generally increase the value. But if you're making it personable to someone who's not famous, I don't think it adds terribly much to it. If it's just autographed and it's not personalised, you would definitely see a percentage increase in the value. But when you put it down to, for example, Dear Brian, just for you, I don't think that's going to add anything particularly to it. With regard to the gold cigarette case, it usually is quite easy to get the initials buffed out of something of that nature. So I wouldn't be too concerned if you've got a cigarette case or casket or even a little Vesta case, what was referred to a Vesta case, an original metal case made of gold or silver that would hold matches. If these are initialed, sometimes it can add a little bit of charm to it, especially if you have a date engraved on it as well.
Right. Okay, moving on from a cigarette case, what have we got next?
Coins now. Gold sovereigns and half sovereigns and £5 coins, £2 coins and Krugerrands and so forth. These have all reached astronomical heights in the past year or so, again with the value of gold. Not so much with silver, but we've got an interesting inquiry here from someone who has a British crown. These were originally struck in completely sterling silver. As they moved on, they were, now the date in this one is 1881, I think this one is. So this would have been made in sterling silver. And as they moved on into more common crowns, Churchill crowns, the Festival of Britain crowns, we see them at McTear's every single day. Now, I was doing a little bit of research on crowns, and I discovered yesterday that the reason that we see so many Sir Winston Churchill commemorative, when I say commemorative, they commemorated the life on the year of the death of Sir Winston Churchill in 1965, but they actually made 20 million of these crowns, which probably explains that McTear's and every other auction house in the land sees so many of them, and because of that, there's very little value in them. But the one in question here, which is a late 19th century silver crown, as I say, struck in sterling silver, is probably worth about £25 to £35 or so. So not nothing, but not terrifically huge amounts.
It's amazing how, again, you've got a bit of everything, haven't you? Our listeners have been sitting on these items and thinking to themselves, is this really worth anything or is it not? It's great they've taken the opportunity to get them on the phone. So we've got time for another couple, have we? Yes.
Okay, well, one that just came in just perhaps about 15 minutes or so. Now, we've got no information on here at all, but it's a picture of a bowl. The picture's actually on its side, but I can recognise it right away. It's painted with cabbage roses, and this is a Weemsware bowl. Again, you have some, certain items, objects, items of ceramic or silver, which we don't really need too much information. We can see from the picture exactly what it is. And in this respect here, a Weemsware bowl of that nature, assuming the condition is good, that's another thing to perhaps point out to give an accurate valuation. If you can mention chips or cracks or any rubbing to the gilt or whatever. But this Weemsware bowl, depending on the size of it, is worth anywhere between maybe £100 and £300 or so. So that has just come in.
Yeah, that's again a good price for something that's been sitting in the home. You just again, it's good that our listeners have been sending that in.
Absolutely. I could move on to a picture here now. This is something which I would have been really excited about this if I hadn't seen one exactly the same before. It's what's called a triptych. It's a frame which contains 3 images, and this seems to be originals drawn by Ernest Howard Shepherd. For those of you who have heard of his name, he illustrated for A.A. Milne's Winnie the Pooh, and interestingly, last year, a record of over £100,000 was paid for a single sketch, but I've seen one of these before. It is a triptych, and 99.999%, these will be prints of the originals, unfortunately.
You say unfortunate, and we are running out of time, but don't worry, if you have sent something in, you will get back to people with valuations, won't you, Brian?
Absolutely, they'll all be done in the next few days.
Right. And a bottle of whiskey that I've had sitting in the house for a few years now, again, just curious as to how long I should keep it. How here it is. It's in a wooden. I'll let you describe it. You're the auctioneer rather than me.
Well, it's a Glencadam distillery that closed, I think, about 2000 and reopened under new ownership a couple of years later on. So it's a famous long-running distillery, and this one that you have is in its original crate, if you like. It's a 12-year-old Glencadam. I think it's probably worth £100 to maybe £150 or so, but I suggest to you that I take it back to McTear's, let our specialist have a look at it, and just to see if I'm wildly wrong.
Yes, well, curiosity more than anything else. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. If you would like more information, if you pop into the station website, you can see a little video of Brian and I wandering around McTear's. And once again, I will give you the details. If you have something that you would like valued, then Brian and his team would be delighted to have a look at it. All you have to do is take a photograph with your mobile phone and send it to 88600 and mention Value Alley. As I say, I'm on commission, 10 pence for everyone that comes through. Value Alley. So do that, and as Brian was saying, anything you can add to it, any information at all, would be more than welcome. And hopefully you'll join us again sometime in the next couple of weeks, and we'll talk more about some of the items you've been receiving.
I'll look forward to that.
Thank you very much indeed, Brian.
Forward to that.
Thank you very much indeed, Brian.
Forward to that.
Thank you very much indeed.